from the KWQC studio. This is Quad Cities Today. Coming up on Quad Cities Today weekend, the brand new Costco in Davenport has officially opened to the public. And a Wisconsin community rallying together for their missing teen. Good morning, I'm Austin Hanson here with Cedric Haynes, and thank you for joining us for Quad Cities Today weekend. Costco opened its doors for the first time in Davenport yesterday. Plenty of people showed up to check it out, so I caught up with some customers.
It's pretty easy to get in. I was pretty surprised.
The brand new Costco in Davenport opened earlier today, and it has community members buzzing. But one in particular is excited because of his history with the store.
I'm just excited to get back in and see the deals and stuff. I like, they have like good selection from the Kirkland brand. I'm a big fan of their turkey burgers.
Zach Eichelberger used to live in Pittsburgh and worked at a Costco for some time. And after recently moving to Davenport, he's just excited to get some familiarity back in his life.
I'm just pumped to get inside and see some deals and check out the cool stuff.
He said he's noticed how packed 53rd Street has been in recent weeks because of all the construction, but was surprised when he drove right on into the parking lot without any sort of line or wait. He also says the roads and areas around the store are a lot more prepared than he would have thought a few weeks ago.
I'm just right off of Brady Street, so just came up and Cape swooped in, so no big problem with the traffic. Even though there's no parking spots left, really, but yeah, that's kind of how Costco always is, packed.
In Davenport, Austin Hanson, KWQC TV 6 News.
The new store is about 5 minutes from its chief Quad City competitor, Sam's Club, located on Elmore Avenue. A prominent Iowa youth basketball coach is potentially facing decades in prison, this after he admitted to sexually exploiting and abusing at least 400 boys, including former players, their friends, and other young athletes. According to reports, 42-year-old Greg Stephen admitted to posing as girls to obtain sexually explicit photos of the boys. Stephen also admitted to having recording devices in locker rooms, showers, and in his home. Some accounts of his reported abuse are too sexually explicit for us to share on air. Stephen pleaded guilty to 7 charges as part of a plea deal. If convicted, he could face a minimum of 15 years in prison or a maximum of 180. His sentence could increase based on the number of victims and their ages. For the full story, head to our KWQC News app right now. And President Trump said he's not satisfied with Saudi Arabia's explanation for the killing of a Washington Post journalist in Istanbul. The president said earlier the Saudis took a good first step by arresting some suspects, but U.S. and foreign critics are skeptical of the Saudi account of the journalist's death. NBC's Bill Neely reports from Istanbul, Turkey.
For 2.5 weeks, Saudi Arabia denied it had any knowledge about the disappearance of Jamal Khashoggi. Now it has changed its story. It says there was a fist fight inside the consulate. It was a kidnapping gone wrong, a killing in the end covered up by suspects. It has arrested people in Saudi Arabia, detained 18 Saudi citizens, and 5 senior Saudi officials have been fired from their positions, including 2 men who are very close to Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. But he, at the moment, is being absolved of any responsibility.
Well, I think it's a good first step. It's a big step. It's a lot of people involved, and I think it's a great first step.
President Trump says he finds the Saudi explanation credible, but critics both inside Congress and overseas are casting doubt on the Saudi story. For example, they have not provided any evidence to back up their story.
So they will try to survive this crisis by putting the blame on a few scapegoats.
The Saudis, if you like, are circling the wagons. They are protecting their crown prince, and in fact they've announced a 1-month inquiry into the intelligence services, which will be headed by the crown prince himself. In other words, his power is not being diminished, it is in fact being consolidated. Bill Neely, NBC News, Istanbul, Turkey.
If you use healthcare.gov, you may have had your personal information exposed after a computer system hack. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS, says 75,000 people's information was exposed through the direct enrollment pathway. The portal allows agents and brokers to help consumers with their applications for health care coverage in the exchanges. Suspicious activity in the computer system was initially investigated on October 13th, with the breach confirmed 3 days later. A CMS administrator says open enrollment, which begins next month, will not be impacted. Officials say the healthcare.gov and the Marketplace call center are still available to customers. A second Michigan funeral home is under investigation after fetus remains were removed. Police say more than 60 fetus remains were removed from the Perry Funeral Home in Detroit. Investigators said they found 3 unrefrigerated boxes containing remains of 36 bodies of infants or fetuses. Officials also found a deep freezer with even more. Officials say the failure to properly handle remains after agreeing to provide the services within 60 days of receiving the body is a criminal offense. One woman who gave birth to a stillborn was told her baby would be buried. Now she can't get any answers.
I haven't got no death certificate. I want to see where my baby was buried at.
Last Friday, 11 infant bodies were discovered in the ceiling of another funeral home. Federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies have set up a task force to investigate both funeral homes. The search for missing 13-year-old Jamie Kloss continues in Barron County, Wisconsin. Jamie disappeared after her parents were discovered shot to death in their home on Monday. Volunteers in the small community are hard hit by the incident and want to help. Hundreds showed up to help with the search, but so far, Jamie remains missing. Now, a group of family friends has made 2,000 green bracelets with the words #FindJamieKloss. They're selling them for $5 in an effort to raise money for her family. Runners participating in a local 5K race for suicide awareness were among the first to wear them.
Everybody just wants to do something to help them out, so anything as small as selling bracelets or people that went out and searched, I mean, anything that they can do to feel like they're helping the family.
The local bank is also collecting donations along with a fundraiser on Facebook that's already collected nearly $10,000. More than 70 women are hanging out in vintage campers in Rock Island this weekend. KWQC's Sarah Jones visited with the group called Sisters on the Fly, and they say there are 3 rules: no men, no kids, and have fun.
Spiders, pumpkins, and witches. It's a witchy woman weekend in Rock Island. The Sisters on the Fly are spending the night in vintage campers.
The original organization was to fly fish and get women out of their house after they've raised their family, they've been married, and maybe they're recently divorced or widowed, and it's time for them to get out and discover who they are and what they like to do.
Keeping up with the witchy theme, these women came to the Quad Cities from across the Midwest,
Vermilion, Ohio,
and even farther.
Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
And it's the time to focus on yourself and just be free that draws these sisters here.
You're getting your independence back and having a lot of fun doing it. As a woman, you always give to everybody, and I think that it's really nice that we can come together as women and enjoy each other and grow from each other, and it's just a lot of fun.
It's a chance for me to just be myself, meet new people, just have fun and not worry about all the things in life that are not fun or that are sad. It's just a fun time for me. I've met some wonderful, wonderful sisters, truly sisters.
The women have been camping out since Wednesday, and tonight's their last night on the campground. Sisters on the Fly has events across the U.S., and it's clear from hanging out with them that these ladies just want to have fun.
Sisters on the Fly's website says groups and events can be found across the U.S. They also have gatherings in Canada and New Zealand.